Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video for you about how to register the internal cusps if you're using Polymorph instead of splint line, because with Polymorph we don't drill. So I've been having a hard time with this. I have to re-register the bite many times over before I can get just those internal cusps. So I have a little technique that I've been using the last few times. It's working really well, so I wanted to show you that. Lily, and I hope I don't butcher your last name, I think it's pronounced Leong, posted a great polymorph video a couple months back, just how to use it and how it works. So thank you for that, Lily, because I would have been lost without that. So that's posted in the Starecta group. So first of all, this is my bite splint. Mine might look a little different than yours. I didn't have a dentist or a lab locally that could help me create the splint the way that the instructions that Moreno gives to do. So I went with the alternative route, which was to use Pro Teeth Guard. That seemed to be the one that was getting the best reviews of everybody in the group. I've been really happy with it, and the thing that I like about this is to use the Polymorph. You have to use boiling water, and this bite splint can really handle the hot water. So the clear part, that's the bite splint, and the white part is the Polymorph. When you get the Polymorph in the mail, it's these little beads here. They're like, you can see tons of little beads. So when you're first starting out, you're not going to have Polymorph built up on your rectifier like I do here. So I had the best success with just getting the Polymorph onto the rectifier first, and then worrying about getting it smoothed out later. So basically, I was using a measuring spoon at first for these little guys. Oops, you can't see. For these, I would just use a measuring spoon, put it into the boiling water. It's gonna turn clear. You're gonna see this in a minute. It's gonna turn clear, and then it's moldable. It's kind of like Play-Doh. And then you can build it onto your rectifier, and it stays moldable for a while. So you have time to put it on there, you have time to smooth it out, and then you have time to register your bite. But like I said, getting the Polymorph onto the bite splint first, I kept that as a separate step, because when I would try to put it on, I would get it on, it would be clear and moldable, and then I would go ahead and register my bite, it would want to slide. So I got it on, let it cool until it turned white like this, then put it back in boiling water a second time, and as you'll see in a minute, even though it's going to melt and it's going to get moldable, it doesn't come off the bite splint. So yeah. So Polymorph, I had to go with Polymorph for the, to replace the splint line, because, I don't do well with, fumes and chemicals. I have some, complex health situation. So this has no fumes, and I think I paid $8 or $10 for this bag, and as you can see, I haven't used much. So anyways, everything I did by 1, buying an SPI from Moreno, and then 2, following the instructions that came with it, and then I just had to alter this a little bit supply-wise to make it happen. But everything I do to register my bite, I rely on the instructions that Moreno gives, that Starecta gives, and I rely on the support in the group. So if you are re-registering your bite to get the internal cusp, step 1, get your hot water. And you're gonna get to see what the Polymorph looks like when it melts. So this water, I don't know if you can see the steam, it's really hot, and this is why I really like the Pro Teeth Guard splint if you can't get one made at a dental office, and if you're using Polymorph, because you have to use the heat. It holds up really well. It does get a little bit flexible when it's exposed to heat, but it doesn't melt like the Polymorph does, which is good. So I'm not gonna keep the video running to wait for this to wait for it to completely melt, because that will take a little while. It takes a couple minutes, but I'm just gonna let the Polymorph get melted a little bit so you can see what it looks like. All right, you might be able to see it. It melts from the outside in. So when you saw it a minute ago, it was all white, and if you look at it now, whew, that's hot. If you look at it now, you can see right there how it's turning clear on the outside. So that's what all of it will look like, and you'll see that in just a minute. Okay, so the polymorph is melted now, totally. So let me get this out. Alright, so you can see it's totally clear now. And it's got all of my old registration marks there. So normally what I was doing is just smoothing this out, getting it nice and even again, getting it nice and flat. And then registering the bite. Now I still need to do that, but I mold it a little bit differently now before I register the bite so that I can get, hopefully, just the internal cusps. And I've done this about 3 times so far, and 3 out of 3 times it's been really successful. Whereas before, when I just flatten it out and do my registration flat, I don't have as good of luck. You know, I end up getting some of the external cusps, and then I have to try to like, I have to try to smooth it out and that, so it's kind of difficult. That is one of the big advantages of using splint line or a similar dental acrylic, is that you're using a drill. So it doesn't matter if you register your external cusps, you're just going to shave it away. With polymorph, we can't really do that. Well, maybe some people, I don't know if some people have tried using a drill with polymorph. I haven't. But with polymorph, you kind of have to get it right, you know, when you're registering it. So, okay, so here it is, smooth and flatten out. You can probably tell that that's flat and even. So the one little extra thing that I do now is I push the polymorph towards the internal cusp. Now this is probably, maybe other people are doing this. Maybe this seems really obvious, I don't know. But I didn't think to do it until, you know, a while into this. And now this is my favorite way to register the bite. So I'm probably not doing this as precisely as I would if I was actually registering my bite right now. But hopefully you can see. So now it's at an angle. You see that? You see how it's higher on the inside? So now when I register my bite, my internal cusps are going to catch that, and hopefully my external cusps will be landing somewhere out here. Now a couple times, even doing this, I did get just a slight impression of one of the external cusps out here, but the polymorph was still soft enough that I was able to just use my fingernail and do that just slightly and get it out of the way without it pushing the polymorph here or messing up the registration on the inside. So you can experiment with it. That is, using that angle like that is the best way I have found to get the internal registration for polymorph. And then, oh, sorry, usually I wouldn't normally put it back in the water at that point. Actually, unless I had to. If it cooled a lot, you can see it's turning kind of, it's starting to harden a little bit. It's not as clear as it was. If that happens while you're playing with it, you put it back in the boiling water, in the hot water, let it get soft again, you pull it back out. It shouldn't have really lost its shape. And then you're ready to register your bite. And you register your bite exactly like Moreno shows you. And you make sure you're using a flat chair. Also, maybe something that's a little bit obvious, but something I wasn't thinking about the first couple times I did this. And you know, because some chairs they tilt backward a little bit, or they have a slope, I should say. The bottom of the chair has a little bit of a slope. Do not use a chair like that. I don't think it's good to use a chair like that. Let me put it that way. In my experience, use a really flat chair to register. So that's it. I hope this was helpful.